Hello guys, welcome back. Let's do an inside my head. And we have got a very low rated opponent, so I will try to demonstrate things that do happen a lot, and I will try to explain things that should or shouldn't happen on this level of chess. Hopefully by shedding some light on frequently occurring mistakes. Having said that, my opponent is playing a very solid opening and doing it quite fast too, so it's going to be quite interesting how he continues from here. This is, by the way, a line that Paul Morphy used to play a fair bit, and it's quite old, and yeah, it has got its downsides. The idea is to let this pawn go on e5 for the sake of ruining his initiative, or rather his development actually, and thereby granting black a very easy and quick kingside action. Actually, things happened way too fast here, so I need to go back in order to explain to you this sufficiently. So after knight e5, rook e8, he had got two choices. One of them was to drop back here, and thereby allowing me to retake on e4. That would have been the wiser choice. Knight d3, as per the game, denies me from taking this, because after takes, rook takes, I lose the bishop. But the big problem with this move is that it blocks in the bishops, so now the queen side can't develop at all, and also there is nobody guarding the king. So after my bishop b6, now this pawn is hanging, very awkward to defend because rook e1 is strongly met by knight g4. Or even bishop g4 actually, sorry, is almost winning on the spot, because the pawn is pinned, so he can't really put anything on this diagonal. Whereas now, again, the big drama is that the pawn is dropping, but I was somewhat reluctant to actually take that pawn, and now I'm thinking that I may have played this too fast, because instead of knight g4, bishop g4 may have been a more adequate response to what's happening on the board, maintaining the initiative instead of trying to hunt the pawn back immediately. Because now if I do take the pawn, then I release this knight from d3, and after rook takes pawn d3, my advantage is minimal. Absolutely minimal. So I've got a fancy idea, and I'm going to try to play it, but it is a fair bit risky. And that is not to take this pawn, but to bring the queen out to the attack here. The idea is that if he takes, I will take back with the bishop, hitting the queen, and then I very quickly will aim to do a rook lift and try to checkmate him. I don't know how sound it is, but it demonstrates a concept that a lot of people misunderstand, and that is that if they sacrifice material for initiative, then their number one objective is to regain the material, but they don't realize that very often it happens at the cost of losing their initiative, which I would have if I had taken on e5, knight takes, rook takes, and then pawn d3. There is not much in the position for white there, and after bishop f4, for black, sorry, and after bishop f4, white comfortably completes development. Whereas now, I opted for maintaining initiative instead, without taking the pawn, and I am adding further pieces into the attack. Now queen f3 is a quite good defending move actually. Now I might have to take on e5, being unable to delay this. Having said that, after takes, the queen is still in a bit of a tight spot, because queen g3 is hanging for free, but maybe queen f4 followed by queen h2 is the way to go. Yeah, I don't really see a productive way to maintain my initiative here, so I will have to give in and do this now. And I don't do it very light-heartedly, because after d3, as I said, position does not have an awful lot in it for me. Okay, let's try rook f5. Still putting some pressure down here. Queen has to drop back to e2, whereupon after bishop d7, going to play rook e8. I thought they had to go back. Am I wrong? I thought this was thinking. This is odd. So if bishop takes f2, check, king h1. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing, brother? The funny thing is that he doesn't even have a threat here. I can just simply develop, because if takes, my rook is guarded. If takes, I have got that covered too, but there is a back rank mate threat. So there is no point for me in trying to get cute here. So let's just go here. And yeah, that's it. So he basically blundered right in the very last moment before he could have achieved a very close to equality type of position by queen e2, bishop d7, and perhaps bishop e3, rook e8. I've got a bit of a pressure there, but nothing substantial. Whereas now I'm simply a pawn up for nothing. Two bishops. Happy days. But that, I would have to say, was quite significantly better than what I expected from a 1700. No disrespect to anyone with that sort of rating. Like, even after realizing that he got into a bit of trouble here after knight g4, he defended quite calmly with this queen move. Okay, so we take the rook, and here we go, endgame time. This is hanging. Not that I worry too much about it. So at first I don't look at how to defend it. At first I'm looking at how to not to defend it and play something aggressive. But sadly after rook e8 takes, I don't have a penetration point on e2. So I very sadly have to waste actually a move on guarding this. I'm not happy to do it, but circumstances are such that I needed to. I had to, rather. Yeah, we'll go from here. f6 followed by king f7 is a logical way to progress on. But now actually I've got a different plan. Although I do like the power of my two bishops, but this bishop is very annoying and I have to waste the whole entire rook on guarding this pawn. Also this move announces knight c5. So the way how I'm going to handle it as well, I will drop the bishop back here. It denies knight c5 and it prepares for bishop d6, which is going to allow me to get rid of this pesky bishop and potentially even straighten my pawn structure. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I expected rook e1. I've got two very useful moves here. King f8 and bishop e6. Bishop d6 is early because after takes, the rook gets to penetrate and then I have got trouble along the 7th rank. And whenever you are playing an endgame, when you have the upper hand, when you are ahead in material, the only thing that you don't want is to give your opponent initiative chances. So let's eliminate that possibility and let's aim for the trade. Take, and then I'm going to trade the rooks off. Because if I'm a pawn up, all trades are favoring me except for the one that would result in a, that's a bad blunder, in a opposite colored bishop ending. So now the poor thing missed that this is a pin, and after d4 f6, I'm talking nonsense, this is a check. Okay, so, well, still it was a bit iffy, but at least he gets away with not having to trade rocks. So we drop back. I'll just go back here. I don't want that knight to come into e4. Okay, so that was again a weird move because it allows me to penetrate and get my king closer to the center, which is what we are doing now. So I'm just playing along pin principles. As you can see, I negated his counterplay and I'm slowly building up my position. My rook is better than his. The bishop by default is better than the knight because we have two pawns on both sides. And I'm just going from here slowly, bit by bit. So now I'm going to play f6. The point of this move is to drop the bishop back here, so that then my pawn majority start rolling towards baseline. Now he trades rooks, thereby entering a dead lost endgame. Because of because of my extra pawn, but also because of my bishop is way superior the knight. Please note that taking on here is very risky in view of b3 and my bishop gets trapped in there. There might be a point that I can get out through here, but it's just simply not worth it, and it's not laziness, it is just practical thinking. Now make sure that you do avoid this, that putting way too many pawns on the color of the enemy bishop, but also he allowed me to trade the minor pieces, and when you are a pawn up, that's always the easiest way to victory. Yeah, he's dead. So basically this is the phenomenon of the extra pawn that even works with outside pass pawns, so that the king has to be busy here, and in the meantime I'm going to take all of his pawns, and he's going to resign here. Should be, but he's not. Now it's a queen. So that was a fairly easy conversion of an endgame. We're going to play one more game just to see if we can add anything extra to that, because I'm feeling that there was not quite a lot of content there to learn from. Although I'm going to show you that endgame. King's Indian. Let's see, I mean the mainline King's Indian. Okay, this could be a very good learning material. Bishop e3 is a tricky line. A lot of people here erroneously continues with knight c6 instead of playing the correct knight g4. Wow, I'm impressed. Almost in every opening when a bishop lands on e3 or e6 respectively, and you can kick it out with a knight move, it's the best move to play. Now both bishop h4 and bishop drop back to c1 are theoretical moves, and my opponent is actually playing really top-notch chess here in terms of theory. So good on him. He really isn't showing 1700 chess. Okay, now he has to be very careful here though, because if I get this knight back here, then he's dead. Because of the pawn structure is rigid, I have got full blockade. Please refer to Nimzovich My System. And so these pawns become weak. In fact, almost inevitably when you have got such pawn structure like this, the best thing you can do with them is to keep them like that, because then they control every single square right in front of them. But as soon as they become rigid, they are very, very easy to deal with. Now my opponent is being a bit of a pest by trying to checkmate me, which is very unpleasant. Very, very unpleasant news that my opponent doesn't want to give me a free win. So after knight f4, this mate would be quite embarrassing. I think take knight f4 is quite powerful, but I would like to keep all the dudes on the board and go bishop f4. Now the mate has been dealt with. I will drop the bishop back and then the knight jumps in. I was also considering playing knight d5 first, to force the knight to go to a6. That's a very weird placement of the knight there. He should have come to c6 to attack d4. So this is where people this is a very common phenomenon actually in amateur chess, that they learn opening principles and then they forget about it at the expense of, oh, normally people in the King's Indian play knight d7, so I go there. Makes no sense whatsoever in the position, and in fact the thematic knight c6 hitting d4, hitting the center, would be way more logical. So even if you throw out the opening principles and you just rely on common sense, you would have found the correct move. Okay, now I've got a lot of tricks here. They're all based on the same idea, and that is that this probably isn't capturable. E.g. knight f4 takes, bishop takes, knight e6. Maybe then he can take on c3. Okay, let me just go into d5. If he takes this, I'm gonna take that and that. So you can see the stark contrast between the two armies, that I'm fully developed. He has got that and that as a problem, and his pawn structure is absolutely all over the shop. But the main difference between the two positions is my superior development. If he takes here, I will take back, bishop takes, and pick up the rook. If takes, rook moves, I play bishop d6, hitting this rook, then directly hitting that rook. The game is over. If he plays rook here, I can still take that without trading queens. Note that most people would take here, thinking I need to eliminate the queen in order to take that. But that would activate this bishop, cover up on this diagonal. I have no interest in doing that. My queen is defending my bishop on d6. This is what we call an X-ray motif. Even 2700 grandmasters misquote this motif. and confuse it with a battery. So the extreme motive is when there are two pieces guarding each other, even though there is a piece in between them. But the queen is covering d6. Rook takes, and now we are hitting both ways. So what is the easiest way to win some material? Perhaps 98, yeah? Yeah. So 98 attacks this rook, that rook. Ta-da! Perfect. The game is over. Alright, let's have a look at the analysis very quickly of the game. So, all the way here, I think it was all sensible. Knight c6 rings me a bell that this would be theory. E4 was a very, very committal move that created a massive weakness, a 2 if you will, in his position, and that is a major issue. Also note that this allows me to take the pawn here, so he had to kick me out. In fact, I may even have had this tactic available here, with the idea of takes here, but I wanted to show you the idea of this whole entire knight run around, and that is to exploit the weak squares. And this knight on f4 is so juicily attacking all those very weak white squares. It's a picture of perfect, beautiful knight. Queen h4 was quite a cheeky move to prevent that, but sadly it fell for bishop g3, and from here on it was a roller coaster. His last chance was really to play knight c6, but even against that, after I drop back, perhaps queen d8 is necessary. I think I would have been more than fine after something like d5, take here, and knight f4. Yeah, this looks very promising. This looks very promising. What I wanted to really do was to have a look at the previous one, because there we had an interesting moment when I decided to sack that pawn. Actually, piece, sorry, I'm not quite sure how sound that was. So let's have a look at, excuse me, pawn sack of mine. I will check on Stockfish. So yeah, Stockfish prefers knight f3 instead of knight e3 too, and rightly so. This position looks very ugly. And after e5, yes, I sensed it correctly that I should have played bishop g4, preferring the initiative instead of hunting the pawn. Yeah, quite nice. Look at that. So after knight e2, best move is queen e7. That is a picture that I want you to remember and just keep it in your brain. First of all, not running away like a madman because, oh my god, it's hanging. Who cares? This is hanging even more so. So we are just building pressure. This bishop can't develop until the knight is here. The knight can't move because e5 drops, and in the meantime we are going to bring the last piece into the fray. This is really Morphy-esque play, by the way. I really like it, and I really regret for me going there. Now after h3, I think queen h4 was speculative at best. And my opponent pulled out the best move here, queen f3. I told you that he defended well. So let's have a quick look at this. Takes. The idea was to take, and after queen e1 I wanted to play rook e6. Is that confirmed? Yes, it is confirmed. So it's a very nice example when, because of the rest of the army is so badly separated from the main battlefield, I can easily swing across and mate. There is no remedy against it. If g3, then I just go here, and now I even have this and mate on top of this and mate. So good on him for finding queen f3. Now we had to simplify d3, rook f5. We are playing perfect chess according to Stockfish, and I did tell you that queen e2, bishop d7 would have been the natural course of the game. And indeed here, my advantage would have been absolutely minimal. Sadly, however, for him, instead he went queen e4, check, check. I played bishop here. Bishop e6 is the preferred choice of the computer. The reason why I chose d7 because I wanted to make this a tempo, and I wanted to keep the e5 clean. I don't know if that's a valid argument or not. And from here on, yeah, wow, rook c8. I seem to have played a perfect game here almost. Well, from this point on, it didn't really matter. I mean, we just went into a totally winning endgame that eventually converted. So yeah, take away this from this game as the most important memory. Bishop g4, knight e2, 7. Total paralysis. So beautiful. Pin here, pin here, pin here, pins everywhere. If h3 I drop back, and if g4 I'm sure it's gonna be a sack. Yes, that's correct. And if takes, then we take back. Oh, actually queen g... Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, that's a wrong button effect. Again, oh no, here. Instead of taking back, actually queen here is best. Juicy. Wow. If knight here, then I guess bishop takes, queen e1, and bishop f3. And look at that, queen takes, she can't be stopped. Wow. That is so awesome. That is just awesome. So here we did have a beautiful chance to build up a lovely attack, which I missed out on. King h1 seems to me to be the most sensible move to get out of this pin and to be able to move this pawn up to break this pin. And after knight d7, f3, knight takes e5. Note how black never moves the piece when it gets attacked. Takes, takes, and knight g3. This would have been the most survivable scenario for white. But still, black has got the two bishops, full development, dominating the only open file. Nothing can go wrong here. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so, well, that was it, guys. I purposely chose today a weaker opponent. Actually, I didn't choose him. He chose me. I offered a game between or rather for a very wide open, rating range. So they chose the game. But I do hope that you found some value in it, if nothing else than the initiative that I displayed in this game, and that positional maneuvering in the second was hopefully quite enjoyable too. So thank you guys for watching. I will be back with more stuff soon. Thanks, bye.